we're not thinking we're in London. We're not thinking we're in Italy. We're in the temple. Okay, and I just got the word from the temple room that they are ready here in the West London temple, and I see Devashish Prabhu is there ready with you in the East London temple. So between the two of us, perhaps if we average it out, then we're in Central London. Let's see. All right, I'll join you in just a second. They've told me that they're ready in the temple room. So I'll probably turn off the video. I'll pass over the microphone to Devashish Prabhu, and perhaps we can begin with some Vandanam and some mini beginning, and we'll be all sitting down, very organized and ready to be with you in the temple room in just a moment. Devashish Prabhu, over to you. Your microphone is off just now, Prabhu. Your microphone is off. Can somebody help turn it?
That's right, done now.
Okay, good.
Okay. So welcome everyone this evening. Thanks for being with us all. So we shall start with Vandanam. As Maharaj always says, a mini Vandanam. So Vandeham, then Om Jnana Timirandasya, then Vanchakalpa Sarubhyascha, and Namo Mahabhadanaya, like that. So if we begin with that, take all together. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Patakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sachivam Shadvaitam Sadvarutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitangscha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakuram Militam Jaina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. I'm not sure where Maharaj is. I missed that first bit before, but it said I think he was heading to the temple room at West London Mosque. So we're just waiting a few minutes for him. See, just seeing who's here. So many devotees here. Very nice to see you all. Chaitanya Mai Didi, Radharam Prabhu, Praneshwari Didi, Kumkum Didi, Gaur Nataraj Prabhu, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Priyanana Didi, Nadia Priya, Rajasundari Didi, and see the West London Mott coming with us there, Nirupama Didi, Priya Bhakta Prabhu, Dana K, Snehamai Gangalila, Vishwanath Prabhu. And so many. So happy to see you all. And Maharaj has come now in the temple room. Oops. In West London.
Yes, Devashish Prabhu, we're here listening to your holy voice, the voice of a Vaishnava. Hare.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. What's this? All right. So you've been listing some of the devotees, and we're happy to see so many devotees being quite punctual today. Very British of you all. Here, they've been worshipping. Oh, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we should give you darshan of deities. We're all seated here. Here are the Vaishnavas. And some of the Vaishnavas, as always, doing their religion of kitchen religion, as we know. And here we are, Shri Guru Saparika, Shri Guru Gauranga Sunda, Radha Giri Dhahariju, and Sri Girirajju, two Giriraj deities here, and Mahaprabhu, and the Parampara pictures. So Jai Saparika, Shri Guru Gauranga Sunda, Radha Giridhari Giriraj, and Giriraju Ki Jai. And the Vaishnavas here, Ki Jai. The pictures on the wall, the Parampara pictures, and the Vaishnavas seated here. Govinda, Govinda. And on the other wall, just in case anybody wants to know, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi, Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, dear devotees. Oh, welcome to so many in the last few minutes have joined us too. So happily being with you. So first of all, my obeisances, because I didn't get that chance just now. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And to all of you, a big welcome. We're seated. This is West London, but also East London. We're seated in West London and East London together. And our topic today, given by Devashish Prabhu, is service is life-giving. It is feeding you properly. So if you want all your vitamins and calories and iron, if you want proper food, proper nourishment, then please chant Hare Krishna, yes, but please engage in service. Yes, if you can adjust this so it's not cutting off the... No, they're cutting the Guru pictures on that screen, if you could change. All right, we know Gurudev didn't like any... No, you can still show the devotees, but try not to have half of one of the Gurus, like a cut-off image. Yeah. Good. All right, so there are, of course, life means living, and we want to be properly nourished, and how to get proper nourishment is by giving our energy, not by taking our energy. So as we happily do, we do have a couple of quotations, and I think the first quote that comes to mind to many people when they see this title will be in inner fulfillment. But I have a quotation here also from Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 1, which we are very familiar with, because actually in can't say just in the time of Guru Maharaj, but in Srila Guru Maharaj's presence, and we put together Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 1, and printed it at the local printing press in Navadip, the letter press, printing press, in a paper back cover, and very simple form, with the cover designed by one of the devotees from Mexico, who was there at the time, staying in the temple, and everything done, very much in-house as much as possible, and done on the typewriter with literally cut and paste. We know what cut and paste means because it's done on the typewriter. It's all coming out typed and then cutting and pasting. This is how we prepared the first edition of this Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 1. And in this book, Srila Guru Maharaj is giving us various explanations. And where shall I begin to read an excerpt? Well, about the holy name, and chapter 5, unconditional service. So unconditional service is the title of the chapter. And for our translators, and for anyone else, I'll put into the chat box the part I didn't send you just a little earlier. So this is Srila, in the chat box now is Srila Guru Maharaj's beginning of the chapter, and then we'll continue to the part where I sent to the translators, I sent what I'm expecting to read today. So Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, chapter 1, chapter 5, Jai Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, the author of this chapter of this book. So Srila Guru Maharaj, try to adjust yourself through sound only, the subtlemost element of this plane. Through sound, go on cultivating spiritual life. And that too must be approached with a serving attitude. Otherwise, it will be futile. We are recommended to approach divinity through the most subtle element of this gross world. Although it is apparently nothing to us at present, this divinity is actually everything. Talking about the sound, as you know. So accept the subtlemost thing. But if the very life is absent, our search will be futile. Learn to give yourself, learn to, quote unquote, die, to embrace so-called death at every second. Even in this world, we find the do or die attitude in ambitious politicians, social workers, etc. In every duty and at every step, they are ready to sacrifice their lives for the cause. If one embraces that do or die principle of life, he is sure to progress very intensely and become a great success. Here also, when approaching the higher spiritual life, you must invite death at every step. Give yourself with the most intense desire, do or die. At every point, keep your life as your guarantee that I shall succeed or I shall die. Then Guru Maharaj said, approach the sound, giving yourself with this spirit. Then says, no giving, no getting. If you can desire to give with such an intensified nature, you will be transformed into a bona fide candidate for the higher world. Service means self-giving, self-dedication. And this should be our attitude to approach the plane. In that way, all the coatings of ego will vanish one by one, and the genuine self will come from within and select its own soil. It will confirm, this is my home. Hare Krishna. So many coverings are deviating us in different directions, taking us far, far away from our Swarup, our real noble self, which is a servant in the highest plane of the whole organism. The beautiful, with a capital B, the beautiful is playing, dancing in his own sweetness and affection, and we can reach him following such a course of do or die at every moment. So through self-giving, I can acquire my fortune, and not as a master sitting in my chair, gathering information from different quarters to utilize for my selfish plans. Adau shraddha tata sadhu sango ta bhajana kriya. To progress with faith, keeping the association of devotees and dedicating one's activities to the Lord means this, that you must go forward in your life with the spirit that you are willing to give away this life. Do or die. Okay, sorry. Full stop. Period for Americans. Full stop for English. Do or die is, of course, not in the physical sense, but the internal sense. Bhajana kriya. This is self-giving, ego-giving. Hare Krishna. And of course, we can read more. If you can adopt this, the undesirable things within you will disappear very easily and swiftly. And you will find a continuous connection with such a principle in your life. Hare Krishna. Anyhow, service is life-giving. It is feeding you properly. And I think Devashish Prabhu has probably in front of him that exact quotation, which I think is in Inner Fulfillment by Srila Guru Maharaj also. But the whole principle of coming to Krishna, and one of the fundamental principles given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which everyone here in this room have learned, the 10 fundamental principles given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, haven't you? They shouted yes, but the microphone only picks up the sound close by. Say yes, come on. Yes. Okay, I think yes. Well, there's getting in the right direction. Hare Krishna. So one of the principles is that the jiva souls are either, or the two of the principles are, they are either covered by Maya. You may be familiar with that section of jiva souls, you may have met them somewhere. They either one covered by Maya, or the next of the fundamental principles is, or they are liberated by devotional service. There's no other way than devotional service. And in this age, Hari Nam is the central feature of devotional service. But as Srila Guru Maharaj was just expressing, that Hari Nam must be with devotional mood, and not only little devotional mood. Srila Guru Maharaj explaining it should be with like that full devotional mood. And if we don't chant with devotional mood, if we don't connect with the holy name with devotional mood, Srila Guru Maharaj says it is futile to think we can chant and we are going to get something, I'm going to get some power, I'm going to get liberation, I'm going to, this I part of us. Then it is going to be futile. When we can chant in the mood of service, and when service comes in front of us, to do that service, not just to ask for service, but when it comes to us, then as in Italy, they summarized what is surrender. Just smile and say yes. So when service comes in front of us, we should actually engage in that service. Prove that we want to be devotees and not only lip deep. And elsewhere, we certainly have quotations about lip deep. And English first language English speakers understand what is lip deep. It means not just to say something, but not really feel it or do it. So service, service, service. Don't be afraid of engaging in service. Service is life-giving, not life-depleting. And as Devashish Prabhu has given us a beautiful title, that actually service is not only life-giving, it is feeding you properly. So for all of our enthusiastic, healthy living persons, you all know it's good to eat properly. It's good to be fed properly. So what is the best feeding? Service, service, service. Hare Krishna. So there's a beginning from me and a few words. And I can just add another couple of few words. And that is, really, we saw the life of Srila Gurudev, the life of Guru Maharaj. They are indebted, they feel indebted, they feel grateful, they appreciate every devotee's service, what service they have done. And maybe they didn't keep doing service, or they did other things other than service later on. But we saw in numerous occasions, not a one-off, one-time occasion, that Srila Gurudev would say, I can never leave that person because I remember the service. I can never forget the service that he has done in the past. Often it's service to Guru Maharaj that he's done in the past. And sometimes it was service to himself. What they have done for me in the past, I can never forget. So I cannot never leave that person. So we see how valuable service is. It really is the link between disciple and guru, but servitor and who is receiving service, which are the Vaishnavas, because service doesn't mean only to guru or only to some old devotee. Service is service. We are there to give seva, our energy, to the Lord, and the Lord appreciates that we will help the devotees. And so as a team, then as a team, we will try to give assistance to each other. And that teamwork is there in our destination, not only in our journey towards that destination. The whole of the Goloka, Vrindavan atmosphere, we see or we hear from our masters, we hear from Brahma Samhita, we hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and from our masters in particular, how everyone is engaged in service under a master, under a mistress, under somebody who is senior, and within a team, all are contributing towards the central seva to Krishna, to Radha Krishna. So we are healthy when we are servitors. We are unhealthy when we are exploiters or egoists or self-promoters or whatever it is about I. And Prahlad Maharaj made this very clear to his school friends. And we are still remembering Prahlad Maharaj's teachings, even though Nrsimha Chaturdasi is passed by. But every year we tend to read the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj and his prayers. And then Prahlad Maharaj saying, the beginning of our suffering is putting ourselves at the center and trying to get something for ourselves, whatever it may be. So service is properly nourishing us and taking us away from suffering, taking us to the land of joy, Ananda. Hare Krishna. Okay, spoke too much probably. We have Devashish here. We have our senior devotees also, Kumkum Devidasi here. And Praneshwari Devidasi is senior devotee, by the way, from Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. She's got many treasures in her heart, but I don't see her on my screen. What happened? Oh, we have many. Oh, we have so many devotees. So many devotees. All of you who joined us. Oh, obeisances to those who've joined, and very happy to see. Oh yes. Wonderful. Okay, Devashish Prabhu, you are the MC, the secretary of the London chapter of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. For London, he is, for UK, I mean, for London, Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, both giving this honor, this recognition to Devashish Prabhu. So Devashish Prabhu, you are the MC. We are here in West London, as you know. And by the way, all devotees, we were in East London yesterday and had a beautiful program with the devotees and guests in East London Temple. And the day before yesterday, then here we did this weekly Saturday program, and they advertised it, and it was advertised as the Introduction to Bhagavad Gita, Part 1. And we had around 80 guests, including devotees and guests, around 80 for the program and for lunch. And they also cooked and distributed for outside another 80 plates of prasadam. So they cooked 160 meals here in West London the day before yesterday. And yesterday also many devotees in Green Street. So just a little mini news from London. It is the London Zoom, and I am now in London and very happy to see the enthusiasm and continuing savor of the devotees, West and East. Jai. Devashish Prabhu, over to you, and to whom you may ask to speak to.
Yes, Omar, just a few things I wanted to say about this subject, which is dear to all of us. We know, actually service is unavoidable for everyone. That it's the natural function of everyone. We see that. You know, Srila Prabhupada used to say, everyone is a servant anyway. Either you serve your country, or you serve your family, or you serve your employer, or, you know, the service is always there, whoever you are. Even the king is the servant of the people. So, you know, everyone is serving. By nature, everyone is serving. And Srila Prabhupada said, and if you have no one to serve, then the people buy a dog or a cat and serve them. So, you know, this is, it's a very natural thing. The only thing is we have to choose to who we will offer our service. As Bob Dylan said, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you've got to serve somebody. You know, then that's the choice, really. We serve Krishna or we serve Maya. Actually, that's really the extent of our free will. Are we going to serve the Lord or are we going to serve Maya? And whichever path we choose, we're fully dedicated to that. And as we're here in this material world, then that means that at least initially we've made our choice to serve Maya, and we're trying very hard to be happy in the service of Maya, but it doesn't work that way. We serve her, but we just get slapped down again and again and again. You know, like always, we're becoming frustrated with our attempts to enjoy in this material world. Famously, the renowned Indian poet Rabindranath Tagore, he said, I slept and I dreamt that life was joy. And I awoke and I saw that life was service. I acted and I saw that service was joy. So really, you know, and Srila Guru Maharaj said, you can say like a parallel to that, or even taking it one step further, Guru Maharaj would say, sacrifice is joy. And he explained to us, you know, that, yeah, definitely there's some pleasure in receiving things, you know, of taking things from the environment and, you know, enjoying with those things. But he said that, but there's a higher pleasure for those who sacrifice themselves for others. And we see that. Even people recognize that as being the noble thing, you know, as Lord Jesus said, no greater love have a man than he who lays down his life for his brother. So this is, you know, this is sacrificing oneself for another or for others. And ultimately that sacrifice should be for the center, and the center is Krishna. So it's unavoidable for us to serve. We must serve. We can't not serve. Ultimately, we have to do something because the soul isn't inactive. The soul is always active. And therefore, we have to find something to do with our lives. And for most people, it's serving the family, serving the country, serving the employer, the boss, whatever it is, for our paycheck at the end of the month so we can go on with our life. But if we make a conscious decision to try to serve Lord Krishna and try to serve the Vaishnavas, then we'll find that we are actually getting our real food and our real fulfillment in life. We get fulfillment from giving our energy for the service of our Lord and the service of his devotees. This is normal and natural for everybody, actually, but we're just trying to understand how that is the principle of our lives. So, Srila Guru Maharaj would say, our life is service life. And Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, this life isn't meant for enjoyment. This life is meant for service. So, we try very hard to enjoy life, but always we're thwarted, always we're disappointed in our attempt. But when we, in stages, not, maybe not possible to do it immediately, but when we try to wean ourselves off of that and transfer our energy to satisfying Krishna, to satisfying Krishna's devotees, then we'll feel that there's a different fulfillment that we're getting, a different fulfillment that makes us understand that we're actually coming into the path of real freedom, the path of, you can say, real liberation. That means, because bondage, as Srila Madhusudana Maharaj explained from Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, either the jivas are forever bound to this material world or they're forever liberated from the material world. So there's two types of jiva. So when we try, although we are, is called nityabada, eternally conditioned or eternally bound to this material world, we are that. But when we try to turn our face towards the service of the nityamuktas, those who are eternally liberated from this material world, then we can try to go in a different direction. And, as we get pulled around from pillar to post in this material world. So Srila Guru Maharaj would advise us, that you tie your shikha to the lotus feet of Guru, and he will anchor you to the spiritual reality. Because by nature we are lagu, which is the opposite of Guru. Guru means heavy, and heavy like the Himalayas. And lagu means light, like just can be blown here, blown there, just pulled by our senses here, there, and everywhere. But to avoid that, we need to anchor ourselves by embracing the lotus feet and the service of Sri Guru. Like if you're climbing a mountain or something, you have to, before you can progress, you have to, put some thing into the rock and then secure your rope to that so that you have a firm hold to the surface, and then you can go further up. So even if you fall, you'll only fall a little bit because you're anchored to the mountain. So similarly, although we may, in our attempt, we may always be falling and being blown here and there, if we firmly anchor ourselves to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, we won't fall very far because we're being held, protected by our master. So this is the process of devotional service, by surrendering ourselves to the Vaishnava, just as Arjun did, as we were discussing the other day in Maharaj's introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, that we don't, that Arjun came to that point in his life don't know what I should do. I don't know what's good, what's bad, what my duty is. I just can't understand anymore. So I have to give over my independent, attempt and say to you, Lord, please, you take charge of me and show me and instruct me in which way I should proceed. This is the process of spiritual development. So to make progress in spiritual life, we have to make ourselves subordinate to the Vaishnavas and to the teaching of our Gurudev, teaching of Mahaprabhu, which will raise us up. And why is it? This is why when Krishna tells Arjuna, this is the method by which you should practice spiritual life, by approaching a Vaishnava, a substantial Vaishnava, approach a substantial Vaishnava with pranipat, pariprashna, and seva. So pranipat means exclusive regard, and pariprashna means relevant inquiry, and last but not least, seva or service. There has to be the element of service. And why? Is it that Krishna needs our service? Really, he doesn't. He's fully self-sufficient, and he has everything in more than immense quantity and quality. Whatever we think we can do for him is nothing compared to his front-rank servitors. They're satisfying him in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. So he doesn't need or require our service at all, but we require to serve him. As I mentioned before, we're all by nature servants anyway. So first thing is to admit that, and then to understand in which direction should our service be directed. Which way should we serve? And that should be to the lotus feet of our Lord, through the Vaishnava, through the devotees of the Lord. And this way, we'll get our benefit. So he doesn't require our service, but we require to be engaged in his service. And why? Because if we want to go to that other world, the spiritual world, which is also called Sevika Bhumi, is the place, the realm of service, the abode of service. And Srila Guru Maharaj explains that in that plane, every atom is a serving atom. So nobody can go there if they are not fully and totally surrendered to the service of the Lord. So to be a servant there, we have to be a servant here. And it's not that, we'll serve here and then get our reward in heaven where we can enjoy eternally. Not like that. Rather, it's to serve here prepares us to serve there. And in that service, in the service world, we get our real fulfillment of life. And that's our birthright, actually. That's why we're created. Never forget that. We aren't created just to suffer in this material world. We are created for a life of loving service eternally with Lord Krishna and his devotees in the spiritual realm. We are meant for that, as Guru Maharaj says, designed and destined for that. So we should try to embrace that. We should try and, put ourselves forward for that. And Srila Guru Maharaj says, in the beginning, in the stage of sadhana, then it's a little painful sometimes, to give ourselves, sometimes a little painful. Said, but underlying that is the prospect of eternal joy. Otherwise, why would we do it? So yes, it's sometimes a little difficult, sometimes it's a little painful, but we understand that ultimately that brings about the highest benefit for the soul, for our own self. Our highest prospect is in the eternal service of Krishna. And actually, when we receive our spiritual name at the time of initiation, it's always there's always the suffix of das or dasi following it, and that literally means slave. It means if you are Krishna Das, you're the slave of Krishna, voluntarily entering into the slavery of Krishna. But slavery there is not like slavery here. Slavery here means, abject suffering. We know that's the lot of slaves. They have nothing and they suffer, and it's abominable. But there, to be in service to the all good, the all beautiful, the highest, then the all love, there can be no greater prospect than that. And everybody understands that, actually. There's so many songs on the radio, I'm a slave to love, and all of these things, that's what we aspire for. But what is love and who is love? That is Krishna. Real love with a capital L, we can only find that in the service of Lord Krishna. And that's our prospect, to be a servant of that all love, that all loving Krishna, reality, the beautiful. And if we can find our place there, and we all do have a place there somewhere, then really we'll get our ultimate fulfillment and our ultimate benefit in life. And this is all through service. And service, as Guru Maharaj said, service is feeding you properly. You're getting the proper nourishment and going in the proper direction, and making your life perfect. Actually, this is the way to make your life perfect, by becoming a servant, by voluntarily, by consciously giving your energy, your free will, to the service of Krishna and his devotees. And that's our prospect, that's our teaching, that's our sadhana, to be the servant of the servant of the servant. Mahaprabhu has said that, das, 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 anudas. It's not just hyperbole or a poetic expression, it's the reality. If you can be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord's servant, then you're in a very healthy place, in a very good place. So, we're, as Guru Maharaj often says, quoting, Milton's Paradise Lost, Satan's philosophy is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. This is Satan's philosophy. But we're quite the opposite of that. The Vaishnavas, their thinking is better to serve in heaven than to reign in hell, or even in hell if necessary, but to serve the center, to serve the absolute center, that is Lord Krishna and his devotees, and no other way than that, no other way. So this is my little contribution to our talk tonight. And maybe it'd be nice to hear from many devotees here tonight. We can hear from them, or if there's someone, they have some question for Maharaj, that's also very good. So who can we point the spotlight on? Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, well, you just answered, or you just asked the question that I was about to answer. I was going to ask for Kumkum Devi Dasi, because as I hope everyone here knows, and if you don't know Kumkum, she knows what it is to serve Srila Prabhupada, to be selfless to Srila Prabhupada, to be selfless and serve Srila Guru Maharaj, and to be selfless and serve Srila Gurudev. And so let us invite Kumkum Devi Dasi.
My dandavat to you, Maharaj, and to Devashish Prabhu and all of the Vaishnavas assembled here. And Maharaj, you say this, so perhaps in the future it will be so. But all I can say regarding my very fortunate connection with His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and his dear godbrother who he sent us to, Srila Guru Maharaj, and also the most distributor of blessing, Srila Govinda Maharaj, is that we always have this opportunity to gain everything. I hope this fan is not too loud.
Now it is a little
really loud.
Oh, sorry. It will cut off in a moment. and I have to pre-apologize if somebody comes to the door. I have to disappear for a moment. But this beautiful topic always makes me think how we are to not misunderstand. In the beginning, we may hear service and completion of service and things like that. As in the mundane world, we're always glad when our obligations are over, like the factory worker who checks in with a time card, and they're so glad when they can check out again. And when we got the service of having japa, we don't see, we would have the counter beads, but we don't see those, the final, pulling the final one down as clocking out. So, okay, I did my service. But that service, we have been taught, is the mood, the attitude. And this can only be tasteful to us when we see those Vaishnavas who are practicing and tasting something so much higher, and just attempting, we will get so much grace that we will begin to taste something and understand that this is very high, this is worth my attempt. And it is definitely the entering that world, which is our home. So we have that feeling that it is definitely our home. And why would we not do this? Can you hear me at all? This is
Yes,
quite
clearly, all is good, yes.
this. Yesterday we were reading, and it came upon this quote. And someone, please fill in my blanks because I'm only paraphrasing. But if you want to maintain your attraction to your friends and family of this world, then don't go see Krishna, who is standing. So if you want to provide that actual quote, that would be very nice. But it always strikes me as it's a little bit ironic, because it isn't logical that you would see something greater that you could try to attain and still be attracted to something lesser. So since that isn't logical, then why is this brought out so much? And the reason being that that is our very unfortunate our conditioning, that we are very likely to choose and believe in Maya Devi when she keeps assuring us, and has for so many millions of births in this world, that if we simply accept and follow her bidding, that we will gain everything, when actually she's doing that to help show us that that's not what we want to do, and she will be applauding as everyone else who is serving Krishna when we see through and just think of the basics, like what is eternal and what is not eternal, and what is actual love and what is frustrated or even pain in the name of love. So if we if we see those who are senior to us on this path, and we can consider that everyone is senior to us, that how they are serving, we can follow that example and become very assured that service is not an obligation. It's an attitude, it's engagement in those activities which will be pleasing to our Guru, who's giving them to us because this is what's going to be most beneficial to us. And we'll be recognizing that. This is why service is always listed as this is what you do when you come to the Holy Dham, when you enter an ashram, or if you're living far from an ashram, if you still try to take this up, this is what you will be gaining. So we're very grateful to have this explained to us.
And I do have that verse, as it turns out, Kumkum Devirasi. It was a verse by Rupa Goswami. And,
Okay.
This is in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. My dear friend, if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda as he stands on the bank of the Jamuna at Keshi-Ghat, casting sidelong glances he places his flute to his lips, which seem like newly blossomed twigs. Sure. His transcendental body, bending in 3 places, appears very bright in the moonlight. Hare Krishna. Yes, I'm only supplying the verse. You asked, so I looked it up.
It is not an only.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
And who would like to be a gentleman or a gentle lady? Because, let me just read a little bit. And I thought perhaps Devashishwa would be reading this, but I'll read this for you. This is from, I believe, the Inner Fulfillment. And just a short excerpt, not a long one like I gave before. But Srila Gurudev is saying, sorry, Srila Guru Maharaj is saying, again, Srila Sridhar Maharaj today, also this quotation. We are to understand that slavery to Krishna is a most dignified position, and everything against that ideal is. The only standard of life for a gentleman is to understand and accept the position of subordination to the absolute truth. To admit what is proper and real, and on that basis make one's life advanced, is not meanness. To understand one's proper position and to understand one's proper duty and discharge it, that is a gentleman's life. To accept what is truth. What is considered to be meanness will be removed very soon. And what is really for our welfare and beneficial to us will increase. Hare Krishna. Yes, so strong, so clear, so sweet, so hopeful. So we are in London and we have the manager and chief sevaka along with the team here of Saraswati Devi Dansi. Yes, we do have her, she hasn't escaped. So we shall also pass the microphone to Saraswati Devi, and she, from the late 1980s, she has had that association. Well, she's been around Krishna consciousness, well, for a long time. She can say how long, but from the late 1980s, she has been serving and in the association of Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj. And so now Krishna has given us really very responsible service here in the West London temple, and very nicely managing the temple, its administration, the finances, the devotees, the Tulasi Devi, the cooking, all sorts of things. And so let us hear a few words from Saraswati Devi Dasi on how service is properly nourishing us. And by the way, the prasadam here as service is full of all those good things that devotees would expect from prasadam to nourish us. Saraswati, please come to here. Bring the asana. Huh?
I'm not escaping today.
She's not escaping, she said. Okay. Come. Okay, I'll move that.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Dandavat pranam to everyone. Dandavat. So, I mean,
A little loud.
we heard everything about service very beautifully by Devashish Prabhu, Madhusudan Maharaj, and Kumkum Devi. What else can I say? I mean, they covered all the points and everything. But what comes to mind was Srila Gurudev's encouragement to all the newly married devotees was that they should serve 200% when they start their marriage life. So that's something that came to mind regarding service. And of course, Srila Gurudev was an example of complete self surrender to his Gurudev, and we are trying to attempt to serve him in some way. So the idea is to cultivate some relationship with our Gurudev, and that is through service. I mean, everything boils down to service. So service is our life, and we should try to serve in the mood that Srila Gurudev has, given the example of love and affection, not just in a mechanical way, because we tend to do that on a daily basis. We forget, and so we need to remember that we're trying to really try to serve with a mood of love and affection, and sincerely try to be sincere in our service, and to try the best possible way to make a good offering in every way, in every service that we do, whatever service it will be, whether it's cleaning or whatever it may be, cooking or collecting or puja or whatever it is. We have to always try to do it with our heart, and of course the most important thing is to hope that Gurudev is pleased with our service, and if that is something that he has given us, instructing us to do, or the Vaishnavas, and that he is pleased with our offering. That is very important, that he's happy with our attempt to serve him and whatever offering we have.
Whoa.
So it's not just to come and give dandavas to Gurudev, but it's actually offer some service, right? It's not only to lie down, but to, what's it called, that expression?
Not just to surrender and lie down, but
serve.
surrender and serve.
Yes. 24 hours service is necessary. That's Srila Gurudev, right?
Yes, definitely.
So, 25. 25, okay. That's Madhusudan Maharaj's example. We can see in the life dedicated service life of devotees like Madhusudan Maharaj.
No, that was my expression. It was not. When I say that, I'm not actually quoting Gurudev. I'm just trying to emphasize the point.
But that's what I mean.
But I am not the example of it.
Of course you are, Maharaj.
Okay,
we
Hare
see
Krishna,
that.
Hare Krishna.
We see that every day. So this is and serving the devotees, that we can try to learn how to serve the devotees, and hopefully we will learn how to serve properly the Vaishnavas and Gurudev and of course the Lord. So anyway, I sorry, forgive my my offenses.
Oh, good, perfect. And Lavanya Moy Devidasi, please come forward.
And Lavanya Moy is a powerhouse of service.
And she's already in the screen. She's already in front of the camera. Please, but try to move yourself here, yes.
She's one of the pillars of the London mission.
And all-rounder, and Srila Gurudev appreciates the all-rounder, can do all services.
Anyone can clean and do things, but if you do it with the right consciousness, is that not loud enough?
Try a little more.
Is that loud enough? Yeah, I mean, I can do lots of things, but it doesn't mean I'm doing it with the right consciousness. But, well, I just think if I just keep practicing, then maybe one day I'll do it with the right consciousness. So what energy I have, I use for an attempt at service, and Gurudev will decide if he's happy with that or not. Yeah, I mean, for me to grasp the consciousness, serve Guru and devotees is a little difficult, but I just through that service, maybe some purification will come, the heart will get clean, and then we'll be able to understand and realize things deeper in lifetimes. Yeah, if I have some energy I can use for cleaning the floor and picking up some vegetables or going collecting, then I'll try and make use of that. Otherwise, what will I do with it? Just do something useless with it for a while. So try and use it for what's good at and what he makes of it, he does. All I have to say.
Jai, the humble expression of the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. And I did notice that while we were talking here that Nadia Priya Devidasi, she was engaging in service, making garlands for maybe for the deities tomorrow, preparing for that. So happy to see you engaged in service. And we got a glimpse of the garland that you'll offer tomorrow, made very expertly. All right, so dear devotees, so many of you have joined us and we're very happy to have each of you with us. And now, unfortunately, is that time with these very fast clocks in London. I've noticed that the clocks in London do go faster. Really, they go very fast here. For each program we attend, then we see that within a moment, the clock went all the way round to the next hour. So, dear devotees, happily with you all. And I don't know how many of us you can see, but we are a good crew here. But as with all devotees, they like to hide in the corners sometimes. And of course, some are doing the puja and some are doing seva in other ways. And here we are in West London and Devashish Prabhu in East London, and devotees around the world. Ananda Swarupini Devidasi was here and she's returned to Derby where she's studying, and also Devananda Prabhu returned to Bournemouth, and other devotees are here, and Tanga Rasa is with us all the way from Norway. She's come, which maybe is quicker than coming from East London to here too. It was quicker to come from Italy to the West London temple than it was to come from the East London temple to the West London temple. And especially came in at Heathrow, which is just around the corner, as you may have heard some airplanes in the meantime.
But something to say about Rasa is
Oh, yes.
that she takes her holiday time to engage in service. You know, she works a lot and then she takes her holidays and they just use that time to come to the temple and serve. And she's very good servitor. Indeed.
So after all of this, Tongarasa did it. But a quick word.
There is life. Actually, this is, I'm very happy to be connected. So, feel this is like living connection. Yeah, it's open now.
It's almost finished, no?
Yeah.
Jai. All right, so dear devotees, I hope you could hear that. She's also very humble and speaking very quietly. But dear devotees, now is the time to give our obeisances and to give our good wishes to each other, in fact, because as a team, we need to support each other so that we can make it through another week and see if we can be Krishna conscious continually all this week. And then next week, let's see what we can report. And good to see each of you, either your names or one or two more pictures, videos are popping up, and we're very happy to see each of your videos. Yes, we'll. And Saraswati Didi has a word to say.
No, just wanted to say that introduce the devotees that we have here.
Oh, yes.
We also have Jagannath Balabat over there. He's come here to serve all the way from Colombia. And we have there Krishna Gopal Prabhu, who came all the way from Russia. And then we have Krishna who comes all the way from the east. Sorry.
East London.
And then we have also Ranidasi over there. She's in the Puya. She's also from Colombia. She's here on a religious visa, and also Krishna Gopal. So it's just nice because there is so many devotees connected. So it's nice to introduce the devotees here.
And now you can see the golden curtains, which are now hiding. What are the huh?
The Lord is taking his
The golden curtains are hiding the Lord, who's now having his evening meal, having his offering. And Tulsi Devi, that you can see there too, and elephants from India, and a big donation box from India, also from Rajasthan, perhaps. Jodhpur, yes, Rajasthan. Okay, dear devotees and friends, so good to be with you all. And we better let everyone continue their devotional life, their devotional service. So, heart within and God overhead, let us proceed. Jai Shila Gurudev, Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Shila Guru Maharaj, Shila Bhakti Rock of Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Bhagavan Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai.
Jai.
Rupa Nuga Guru Bhaga ki Jai. Nam Charja Shila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Vishwarendra Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
All Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Koti Vaishnava Brinda ki Jai. To our hard-working translators who survived the talk ki, and today the translators of Priyanana Devidasi was translating into Russian, giving a little break, a well-deserved break for Brajasundari Devidasi by her request today. So let me give appreciation and Chaitanya Moy Devidasi into Portuguese, and our Praneshwari Devidasi into Spanish. So a big appreciation to each of you and to each of you individually. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful to see you all. Have a good, successful week in Seva. Seva, be properly, get proper food, proper nourishment. Nitai Gora, Premanandi.